It feels like every single day there's some new AI breakthrough that changes everything all over again. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise. We're going to build a really clear picture of where AI truly stands right now in 2025 based on the absolute latest data. And bam! Right out of the gate, we hit the central conflict of our time. On one hand, you've got AI helping us win Nobel Prizes, designing life-saving drugs, just unlocking human potential like never before. But on the other hand, it's also being used as this incredibly powerful weapon, fueling misinformation, harassment, you name it. This isn't some far-off sci-fi concept, it's the reality we're all dealing with, right now.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Is this thing our greatest tool, or is it our biggest threat? Now, the answer, of course, isn't a simple yes or no. It's complicated, it's nuanced, and by the end of this, you're going to have a much better way of thinking about the whole thing.
Okay, so first things first. We've got to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of what's happening. AI isn't some niche tech thing anymore. It's this massive global force that's reshaping science, economies, entire governments. And the numbers are just staggering.
Seriously, think about this for a second. In just 1 year, AI-driven research was behind 2 Nobel Prizes. We're talking about Google DeepMind's AlphaFold, which is completely changing how we understand proteins, plus other foundational work on neural nets. This isn't just some award. It's the highest possible stamp of approval in science. It proves that AI is now a fundamental tool for discovery.
And you know what follows big science? Big money. Massive money. Countries are in an all-out sprint for AI dominance. Saudi Arabia is throwing $100 billion into its Project Transcendence. $100 billion! That's not just an investment. That's a huge geopolitical move to say, we're going to lead this revolution. And of course, when you've got that much power and cash flying around, governments are scrambling to keep up. Just in the US, in the last year, 131 new AI laws were passed at the state level. That kind of frantic lawmaking tells you just how urgently everyone is trying to build some guardrails around a technology that's just moving at right speed. So who's actually driving this thing? For years and years, it was universities, right? Academia was the engine. But just look at this chart from the Stanford AI Index. It shows this dramatic flip. Industry is now completely dominating the research. And the reason is pretty simple. It costs an insane amount of money to train these new models. We're talking over $1 billion for a single go. So what that means is the most cutting-edge research is happening inside companies, not universities, and that shapes what gets built.
All right, so we get it. It's massive. But what can these things actually do? And this is where it gets kind of weird. We're seeing this paradox where AI can be an absolute genius 1 minute and a complete toddler the next.
So on the genius side of things, check this out. Google DeepMind's Alpha Proteo is literally designing brand new protein binders from scratch. For one protein that's linked to cancer, it created binders that were 300 times more effective than what we had before. 300 times! That's not just a little step forward. That's a potential game changer for creating all new kinds of medicine. And get this, that genius isn't just stuck inside a computer anymore. It's getting a body. Humanoid robots like this one, Figure 02, can now just watch a person make coffee and then do it themselves. They're already being tested on factory floors. This combo of brain and body is a huge, huge leap.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? This is a huge one. For all that genius, there's a major flaw. The latest Stanford report says it all: complex reasoning remains a problem. These systems are amazing at finding patterns, but they don't actually reason things out with logic the way a person does, and that has some pretty big implications.
Right, so what does that actually mean? It means the same AI that can design a cancer-fighting protein can still get stumped by a simple kid's puzzle with stacking blocks. Tests like PlanBench show that even the best models like GPT-4 have a really hard time with basic planning and logic. It's so weird. They can write a beautiful poem about a block, but they can't reliably figure out how to move it from here to there. That's the paradox of AI in 2025.
So, how are you supposed to use a tool that's brilliant 1 minute and clueless the next? Well, that's where we come in. All this incredible billion-dollar power is now getting packed into tools that cost like $20 a month. Anyone can use them. This is where AI stops being this abstract thing and becomes your personal toolkit.
For about what you'd spend on lunch, you can hire a world-class assistant. So if you're mostly creating stuff, blog posts, emails, social media, ChatGPT Plus is probably your best bet. But if you need to, say, analyze a 200-page report or even a whole book, then Claude Pro is the specialist you want,
because it can handle these massive documents all at once. It's all about picking the right tool for the right job.
And AI isn't just about writing things. It's about making your business kind of run itself. For the simple stuff like, hey, when an email with an invoice comes in, save the attachment to my Google Drive, Zapier is super easy. But if you need something more complex, with if-then logic, like if the invoice is over $500, then send it to my accountant for approval, a tool like make.com gives you that extra muscle.
And look at this. This chart from neuro.is shows you just how you can bundle all this together. For about $100 a month, that's it. You can build an entire AI team for your business. You get a writer, a proofreader, an automation specialist, a graphic designer, and a customer service chatbot. That is a massive advantage for any small business or solopreneur out there.
Okay, so these tools are out there. They're cheap, they're powerful. What happens when everyone starts using them? Well, we're starting to see the ripple effect across all of society. It's changing how we work, our personal safety, pretty much everything. At work, for example, the good news is pretty clear. Studies are showing that using AI can cut the mental strain of your tasks by almost half. I mean, think about that, for burnout, for creativity. For people who really know how to use it, it's saving them over 30 minutes every single day. And it's even making project teams smaller because one person can do more, which means fewer coordination meetings. Who wouldn't want that? It's a real productivity boost.
But there's another side to this coin, a much darker one. And we have to talk about it, because these aren't just abstract risks. These are real stories about real people. A woman in the UK was publicly shamed because a faulty facial recognition system said she was a shoplifter. A 15-year-old kid had their life turned upside down by malicious deepfakes, and more than a dozen countries had their elections flooded with AI-fueled misinformation. This is the real human cost when AI fails.
Which leads us to the final and maybe the toughest question of all. How do we even begin to navigate this future? How do we get all the good stuff while minimizing all the terrible stuff? The entire world is trying to write the rulebook for a game whose rules are changing every single day.
The speed of this is just wild. Look at this timeline of state laws in the US. In 2016, there was one. Last year, 131 new ones. That's not a gradual change. That's an explosion. It's like everyone is hitting the emergency brake at once because they're finally realizing just how high the stakes are.
And really, all these laws boil down to one single core debate. Do we hit the brakes for safety, even if it slows us down? Or do we hit the gas for innovation, even if it means taking on more risk? Right now, if you ask the experts, a clear majority says safety first. But there's still a big chunk that says we need to move fast. How we solve that debate is going to define the next decade of AI for sure.
So, here we are, back at the beginning, but hopefully with a lot more clarity. We've got AI that can design medicines and robots that can make coffee. We've got tools that cost less than your phone bill. The technology, it's here. The power is real. The question isn't what can it do anymore. The real question is for us, what are we going to choose to do with it?